We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, he's Mike. Welcome to our little corner of the podcasting universe. Hopefully you like the sound of our voices and you want to stick around for the show. Not that it stays in one place for long. I mean, after all, we are on the road with Mickey. So hop in the car and buckle up your seat belts because we've got an awesome adventure this week. Now a brief rundown before we get moving. First up, our roundtable talk where we'll discuss the main topic for this week, followed by some Disney trivia ranging from Disney history to a random Disney character of the day. Well, that's just about it. Everybody ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike and she's Sophie.
Hi.
And we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode 49 for December 21st, 2020. And our feature topic this week is Off the Beaten Path at Disney. And our thought process was that when you're at the parks and everything, there's always a lot to do, but sometimes it can wear you out and sometimes you want to take a day and just relax. And so these are some suggestions about how to go off the beaten path, how to stop and smell the roses, if you will, how to relax, recharge, and gear up for the rest of your trip. So I hope everyone enjoys it. But of course, just like always, we have cheddar from the big cheese, and we don't have a whole lot, but I've got some things, and Sophie has some things that we want to share with you. So, first up, I missed seeing this, but and I didn't talk about it much in our Facebook group till after the fact. But on December 11th, the Disney Parks blog had a Disney Magic Moments segment of a virtual viewing of Minnie's wonderful Christmas time fireworks. Now, if you missed it, if you missed it, I'm putting a link in the show notes, and in that link is to the Disney Parks blog. In that link, when you pull up their post, it has an embedded YouTube video player in there, so you can watch the fireworks. It's about a 15-minute show, so it might be worth checking out. But I thought it would be fun to talk about, and it'd be fun to see, because there's been such little activity on fireworks.
Oh, yeah. We were lucky to see the fireworks that we did when we went for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And even so, they were very, very tiny.
Right. But still, it was neat to see them.
Yep.
Okay. So why don't you talk about some Disney Plus, Sophie?
Oh, definitely. I have two things for Disney Plus. And the first of those things is that the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian was on December 18th, and it flew by like that. I'm still not completely caught up on all the episodes, and I feel like I have a lot to catch up on, but wow, it was so quick. And then there is also a new television series that is set to come to Disney Plus in the fall of 2021. And I'm sure that those of you who have been on YouTube, like I have seen the promo for it. It is called The Doug Days. And it is a spin-off series from the movie Up, and it features Doug the dog, the golden retriever, absolutely adorable, and Carl, and their adventures in suburbia instead of in the jungles of South America. And the promo was posted on YouTube 3 to 4 days ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I'm actually really excited for it because I think it's absolutely adorable. And then lastly, for Cheddar from me, the Walt Disney World archways have all been completed. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the archways are sort of the gates into the bubble as we call them. And they are those arches over the road that you drive under, and they have Minnie on one side and Mickey on the other side. And it's kind of like once you pass through those archways, you know that you're in Disney, and the outside world is far, far away.
Yep. Yep.
And all of them have been completed. And there is an Instagram picture of the archway for Western Way, and we will post the link to it in the show notes.
Yeah.
It
Because
looks so cool.
it looks phenomenal. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the brilliance of the colors, this particular picture, with the cloudy sky,
Mm-hmm.
the puffy clouds, and the palm trees and everything. It's like top notch, you know. So it's worth going to check it out. And um, for those that live in the area that have been there, take a look at. Um, you know what we're talking about with regards to the archways, but they really look nice, don't they? So
They look wonderful.
yeah. So that's all the cheddar we have. Just a reminder, and we will stop giving these reminders probably in the next week or two. But there's several ways you can connect with us, and we love hearing from you. So please reach out to us. You can find us on our Facebook group. It's called On the Road with Mickey. And we also have a Facebook page by the same name. So they're kind of linked together, but the
Mm-hmm.
group has a lot more chatter in it because it's more, give and take, and people ask questions and so forth. Um, we also have a YouTube channel, which if you're watching us, you've seen us and you know we have a YouTube channel. So if you are feel up to it, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel at On the Road with Mickey. The more subscribers we get, the better it'll help us to get the podcast out to other people via video. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, if you're just listening to us on the podcast, that's great too, because you can reach us in so many different ways. You can listen in so many different ways, Apple, Google, Spotify, just you name it,
Yep.
we're out there. Um, but we also have an Instagram channel. It's called On the Road
Mm-hmm.
with Mickey. And you can email us. And our email is info@ontheroadwithmickey.com. And we have a voicemail box, and that number is 919-799-8390. And again, that's 919-799-8390. So thank you for reaching out to us. We love hearing from you all, and we look forward to keep hearing from you. Right, Soph?
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right. So that takes us to our feature topic, Off the
Mm-hmm.
Beaten Path at Disney. And like we said, there was a lot of ideas about what, things you could do. Don't necessarily involve going to the parks. That you could just relax and unwind and recharge the batteries and get ready for the rest of your trip. Or if you're a local, these might be some things that you want to do just, whether it's a date night or whether it's just taking the kids out to get away from the four walls and so forth.
Yeah.
There's some things here that you might want to take a look at, or maybe you've never knew about. So, Sophie, why don't you start us off? And we have a list in our show notes, and we'll of course
Mm-hmm.
post that on the post. But Sophie, pick from wherever you want. It doesn't matter which one you go with.
Well, I think I'm just going to go right on down the list that we have.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with one of the most memorable things that I've done off the beaten path at Disney, and that would be watching movies at my resort with Movies Under the Stars. It's
Mm-hmm.
they basically take this giant inflatable screen and they set it up somewhere and they will broadcast movies for anyone to just come sit down and watch. And it's really nice. I remember it from when
Yeah.
we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge once, and they set it up in the pool. So I was there, splish splashing in the water, and they were setting up the screen, and we watched the Brave Little Toaster.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it, depending on the resort you're at, they'll do it in different ways. I remember when we were out at the Grand Californian, they did it over there too, and it was like out on a courtyard patio type thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat. But yeah, the movies Under the Stars is something that just about every resort, if not every resort. So it is definitely something, and you can ask at your resort whether or not they're doing it or when they're doing it, and I think they have a list that they would just say what movie they're showing and what nights it's showing it and so forth. So totally a lot of fun. It's a good way if you bring the kids back from your park day early. It's a good way to kind of unwind them a little bit before they get ready and fall asleep for the night. So
Yeah.
good thing. So
Very good thing.
and one of the other things, and of course, everyone that has stayed on Disney property or maybe even off Disney property knows that chances are your resort has a pool. Every Disney property, of course, has a pool, and I would think every non Disney property would too. And one of the things that might be a lot of fun, um, just as an unwinding sort of situation, is just taking a dip. Go get on your swimsuit, go to the pool, and just
Mm-hmm.
relax. Maybe read a book, maybe dip a toe in the water, something like that. Maybe just chill. You know,
Yeah,
we've
definitely.
we've talked about that a little bit before, but some of our favorites were the slide over at Coronado Springs,
Mm-hmm.
and also the slide over at Port Orleans French Quarter,
Oh, yeah.
and even the slide at Bay Lake, um, which
That
is
one
really kind of
was
cool. That one,
pretty.
yeah, you climb steps and it was like going down 2 stories to get to the water, and
Yeah.
the pool was shaped like a Mickey.
Uh-huh.
So,
And it
but
and it also had that little gateway that you could at least look over. You couldn't go through the gate, but if you looked over the fence, you could see Bay Lake. And I remember we were there with Anna Jane, my cousin, and her parents, my aunt and uncle, and we saw some otters that were just hanging out on the shore from
yeah,
past the fence.
yep.
Yeah.
So relaxing by the pool, and of course, depending on which resort you're at, it depends on what pool it is. But relaxing by the pool is something you might want to consider as well.
Mhm.
All right, Sophie, you take the next one.
Yeah. And to be honest, this one is specifically to Fort Wilderness, but there is so much that you can do at Fort Wilderness alone. So I think it's only right that this one and a bunch of other things are mentioned on this list, and this one would be horseback riding. Fort Wilderness is very special, and it's a lot of people go to Fort Wilderness and they stay for like a month at a time. And of course, they're not going to the parks every single day that they're there, but they don't get bored either. And one of the things that they do, aside from going to the park, is they go horseback riding. And
Yeah.
I remember mommy even went and checked out the stables while we were waiting for a bus to take us back to our cabin when we went and got dinner.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's, like you said, Sophie, there's so much to do at Fort Wilderness because that's a different kind of Disney vacation. If you stay at Fort Wilderness, and um, chances are you're staying there in part because of all the amenities that they have at Fort Wilderness, like the horseback riding at Fort Wilderness, and the archery experience, and the campfire sing along with Chippendale, and and on and on and on. There's so much
Mhm.
to do there. Going to the barn, um, and checking out the barn. There's just so much at Fort Wilderness, and a lot of people plan that vacation, so that they do a lot of those sorts of things. It's almost like their own way of going camping.
Mhm.
So yeah, and actually, shout out to my client Diana, because she almost every trip she brings her daughter over to Fort Wilderness, even though they're not staying at Fort Wilderness, and they go do the chip sing along because they enjoy it so much.
Mhm.
So so it's definitely something you might want to think about. So,
Yes.
and it's
And
just fun, you know.
it is very fun. And this next one on the list is actually one that I'm not familiar with, Daddy. Could you take this next one?
Which one is it?
The
The
horse-drawn carriage rides.
Yeah. So several. Well, I don't know. Maybe several is not quite the right term, but some of the resorts. Let me rephrase it and say some of the resorts have the ability for you to do a horse-drawn carriage ride. I actually had a client who was staying at a different resort, um, and it was a mom and dad and their kids, and the kids spoke to me and had me set up a horse-drawn carriage ride for their parents because it was an anniversary present.
Oh,
How cool
wow.
is that? And
That is
so
wonderful.
the horse-drawn carriage ride started at Port Orleans Riverside. It went on the walkway that goes right down the Sassagoula and
Mhm.
took them to the French Quarter. It was relaxing, and they were just able to do that and then turn around, and then it turned around and it brought them back to Riverside, and they really enjoyed it. It's not something that you do every day. It's not something you plan for every trip. It's just something that they wanted to do that. Um, their kids wanted their parents to do that, and they did it. And that just makes for a really good date night. And of course you can also do horse-drawn carriage rides at Fort Wilderness. And now in the Christmas season, in the holiday season, you can also do sleigh rides, Sophie.
Oh, wow. Do,
a
do they
sleigh
have enough?
ride at a sleigh ride at Fort Wilderness. And of course,
Hmm.
it's not like your sleigh ride through snow or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
was like, do
still,
they have snow?
no, they don't have snow, but it's kind
Yeah.
of cool though to imagine it, to just
Yeah,
think about it. So,
that sounds awesome.
yeah. So there's a lot that you can do with our friends the horses. So,
Mhm.
all right.
And this next one, I remember, this is one that I actually wanted to do for a really long time, I think, and that is the Surrey bike rentals. Now, something you guys should know about me, a little confession here. I don't know how to ride a bike. I am
Okay,
not
then.
good when it comes to balance. So when I saw some people riding a Surrey bike together, I was like, I could ride that and I would not fall over. I want to ride that. When are we riding that?
Yeah. And it's still on our list. We haven't done it
Yes.
yet. But just for those that don't necessarily know, a Surrey bike is a bike with four wheels,
Mhm.
and it usually seats four or maybe even six people, depending on the type of bike you get. And you can rent them several locations. One of the locations is French Quarter and Riverside. I think you have to rent it at Riverside, but you can ride it over there. And I think you
Mhm.
can rent a
The
Surrey bike
boardwalk, I
maybe
think.
at the boardwalk, and I think you can also rent it over at maybe Old Key West or Saratoga Springs, one of those resorts. So there's several places where you can do that, and it's kind of neat, a neat idea.
Mhm.
So Sophie, we'll have to knock that off the list one day.
Yeah.
But
One day.
but yeah, It's just, one of those things that you just plan it and you do it and you just have a little fun with it. So,
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
right. And so this next one, we've talked many times over the year. It's I almost said the years, but it's really almost the end of a year here at On the Road with Mickey, which is kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
we've talked many times about resort hopping. But what we haven't talked about necessarily is resort hopping via the Skyliner. So let's
Hmm.
say that you're staying at Pop or you're staying at Art of Animation. If you're staying at Pop, you can walk over to Art of Animation and vice versa, and you can check out the resorts there that way. But you can also go to the Skyliner station and you can take it over to Caribbean Beach, or you can take it and get off and get on the next one and go over towards the Boardwalk and the Riviera. You can get off at the Riviera. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of ways you could just spend a day, longer even perhaps, just going from resort to resort via the Skyliner, and you'd be able to check out all the ones over at the Boardwalk. You'd be able to check out Riviera and that new resort,
Hmm.
which is phenomenal, by the way. Um,
Absolutely stunning.
you can you can go to Old Port Royale in Caribbean Beach and check out all that,
Hmm.
and then you can go over to Art of Animation and Pop, depending on where you're staying, and all do all that without having to drive, without having to walk, without having to take bus transport. Just take the Skyliner and just have fun,
Yeah.
you know.
It
So
is a wonderful thing. I
the
love the
Skyliner
Skyliner.
is awesome.
I remember
That's
when
almost, yeah.
I I remember when everyone was talking about the Skyliner as it was being built, and they were all like, "It's going to be so hot in there. It's going to be horrible. I will never ever ride it." Now
And it's
I
not.
cannot I cannot imagine getting around the Disney resort without the Skyliner. It is so amazing.
Yeah, even in July when it was as hot as Hades
Oh
and
yeah.
we all felt like Hades because of that heat. We left Hollywood Studios and we took the Skyliner over to Pop Century. We had to get off and then get on the other side and get over to Pop just because we wanted to. We weren't staying anywhere near it, but
Mm-mm.
but we wanted that relaxation. And even in that heat, it was still a comfortable ride. It wasn't hot. It was a nice breeze blowing through because of the way it ventilates. So, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yes, absolutely wonderful.
And I was going to say, just riding the Skyliner can also be your own off the beaten path thing.
Hmm. We consider it one of the rides that we ride during the day. So all
Exactly.
of the rides plus the Skyliner, that equals about 10.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about the next one, Soph.
The next one is one that I really enjoy, and that is shopping at Disney Springs or at the Boardwalk. And I've only really gone shopping at Disney Springs, and even then, not nearly as much as I go to the outlets. But it is just so nice and so peaceful. Disney Springs and the Boardwalk, they're calm, they're not as crowded as the parks, and they're just a place to go. And it's really, really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. For years, whenever we went to go somewhere, we would always go to what was then downtown Disney.
Mhm.
And we almost never went to the boardwalk. Just because we never even thought about it. And it wasn't something that we really did. But but then that one time we went to the boardwalk, and I like your picture, Sophie, in the background. That is the
Oh,
boardwalk.
thank you. Yeah, this is the
That's
Boardwalk.
There is so much to do over there. I
So
mean, you can
much.
go to the boardwalk to go eat at Cape May Cafe. If you have a breakfast reservation, when things get back to normal, then you're going to see Minnie, and you're going to see Donald, and you're going to see Pluto. I mean, Goofy, not Pluto. And you're going to get to see them, you know. And it's a really good breakfast, by the way. Um, and you can go, if you're of the right age, you can go over to Jelly Rolls and check out the
Hmm.
Dueling Piano Bar and just relax and enjoy some awesome music. You can go to the um, ESPN zone over there. You can go to Beaches and Cream to get some ice cream. Might
Yep.
be worth it. And when we went to go check it out, they had street performers, and of course right now isn't they're not doing street performers, I don't believe, but I'm hopeful that one day those will be back because the street performers are fun just mingle and just see what they're doing, and kind of take in their show a little bit. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to do at the boardwalk, and like Sophie said, Disney Springs has a boatload of shopping you can do, and they have great restaurants, and they have just a relaxed atmosphere. You do want to pick and choose when you go because on the weekends for shopping, Disney Springs is a lot busier than maybe during the week. So if you're a local and you want to go, maybe plan on going on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but but there's a lot to do at both venues for sure.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of clients when they are planning their trips, um, they try and plan on having that flight home be as late in the afternoon or evening as possible because because they will take the morning to do their shopping at Disney Springs, maybe have lunch before having to return back to do their Magical Express. So
Hmm.
so that just it's just a plan that they do, and it is an idea. So if you're flying, that might be something to think about. So,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
Sophie said, I'm going to segue into the next one. Um,
Hmm.
the outlets in the Orlando area are really, really good for getting a lot of great Disney merch. So if you have a vehicle or access to a vehicle somehow, maybe consider going to the outlet malls, and getting some of that merch. And the pricing will be so much better than buying it directly in the parks. That is for sure.
Oh, yes. Definitely, definitely, definitely.
So,
Like, I I'm going to give you guys an example. So, if you are very into Disney fashion like I am, then you will know that Disney has this line of Disney dresses that are themed after something that you can find in the parks. And usually these dresses cost $120 each.
hmm
And but when you go to the outlets, and you have to keep in mind that not a lot of these dresses will make it to the outlets. It's really, the outlets are Disney's clearance stores. It's where they send all their leftover stuff that they couldn't sell in the parks. But in the outlets, um, the price can be cut in half and then it can have sales added onto it. So I got myself a Disney dress this time around. I absolutely love it. I may need to get it altered, but I still love it. And that dress would usually have costed me $120. That's why I never got one before. I got it for $30.
there you go. Bing, bing,
Yeah.
bing. We have a winner.
Uh-huh. So as much as I'm sure you would love to buy something in the parks, if you think you can get it at the outlets, just go ahead and wait and see if it's there. And if it's not, you can always come back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So anyway, that That's why you might want to think about going to the outlets sometime. Um,
Hmm.
again, don't break an arm and a leg trying to get over there though, because they are a little bit distant from the parks and from your resort. So
Hmm.
you have to either have driven in or have a plan to do an Uber or something like that. Um, but
Yeah.
it could cost you a little bit to do that. So just keep that
Yeah.
in mind. Now,
Hmm.
one thing that people may not realize or may have just forgotten, when you do a Walt Disney vacation package, one of the things that you're going to get is you're going to get a card, and that card will provide discounts for various services that you would normally have to pay for. Um, and, it could be like, I think one of the options is 10% off a meal at Planet Hollywood, which is in Disney Springs. Okay. So
Hmm.
10% is 10%. Um, but other things that it often also includes is a free round of mini golf for each of the people that are on your reservation. So each one of you gets a card, and each card provides a free round of mini golf at one of the Disney World mini golf places, which there are two. There's Fantasia Gardens and Fairways Miniature Golf, and there's also the Winter Summerland Miniature Golf. Fantasia Gardens, obviously themed after Fantasia.
Hmm.
Winter Summerland is over right next door to Blizzard Beach, so it's themed after like the Blizzard Beach and that kind of thing. So, but if you are interested in playing a round of miniature golf, then you've already got one round for free for each of you in your party. So that is,
Yes.
and we were looking, and I think a round is like $10 or something like that. So per person. So that's $30 is $30.
Hmm.
So that's not necessarily um, you know sneeze money. It's a little bit of a savings for you. So keep that in mind and look at the card is either sent to you in your luggage tags when you do your Magical Express, or it will be included
Hmm.
in your room. It'll be brought to your room and put on your table or somewhere for you to see it after you arrive. And so take a look at what that card does, because there's a lot more than just those two things that you're able to take advantage of. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And that kind of wraps up a little bit about our off the beaten path. But I wanted to throw a quick shout out and say that there are things in the parks that you can do that are off the beaten path
Hmm.
when they're open. And one of those, I say when they're open because right now it's not, but one of those things is taking your kids over to Tom Sawyer Island in the Magic Kingdom. Right now you can't because it's closed because they've drained the moat because they're working on the railing for the Liberty Bell. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So,
when it's open, that is a great thing to do because you can relax. The kids are on an island. You can wander with them. You can go see the cave. You can go see the fort. You can check it all out. It's so much fun, you
oh
know.
yeah.
And another thing at Magic Kingdom is going over to the Swiss Family Treehouse and checking that out. And if you're a camera guy, taking pictures from up there at the top of the tree, you get some really cool pictures. Let me tell
I
you.
would agree. And as it stands right now, because everyone wants to social distance and be sanitary, the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse really is empty. I've never seen anyone actually going into the attraction aside from me and Jagan when we went.
Hmm?
And it was just amazing to see. Like
Yeah,
the entire thing empty. I think you would have loved it, Daddy.
I'm sure I would have. I was tired though, And I
Yeah.
thought climbing all those steps isn't going to be my gig. But
Yeah.
but it is one of my absolute favorite attractions. And like you said,
Mhm.
Sophie, it is so quiet and so it almost never has any sort of line to it. So it's definitely a fun thing to just kind of wander and just kind of take your time with it. Um, another one over at the Magic Kingdom is when it's open, and I can't wait for it to reopen, would be the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, the People Mover. That
Oh yeah.
is an absolutely, and even though it's so popular, it's still off the beaten path because it's such a relaxing, and it's like a 10 to 15 minute, ride, so it's really worth it. So,
It is.
and so
And
there's several things that you can do at the Magic Kingdom alone that would qualify for that. So,
mhm.
do you have some
And
that you want to hit on over at others?
well, mainly with Epcot. I
Go
have to
for
say
it.
Epcot. There was this place that I went to see on our last trip that I had never seen before. I had no idea it even existed. And it was the Epcot Experience, I think is what it was called. And it was a an exhibit that they showed at D23 one year, very recently, and it is basically all the upgrades that they plan on giving to Epcot in the near future to
Right.
make it even more into what Walt would have wanted it to be.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right, honey. It's about what the upgrades are going to be, what the updating is going to take.
Hmm.
So because of that, it's not something that's going to always be there. So if you
Yeah,
are planning to be in Epcot in the coming months, that would be a perfect thing to see because it'll give you a taste of what's to come, and that's really um, that'll wet your whistle for your future trips. You
it
know,
is absolutely amazing.
yeah. And one thing at Magic Kingdom I forgot to mention, it was one of your
Hmm.
favorite five, and it actually to me qualifies as off the beaten path, and that's your Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom
You know what? That is right.
because it
Because,
doesn't cost you anything. You get your free cards, you go wander around and you look at all the things,
hmm
you know?
and while everyone else is busy trying to get to their rides, it's just, it's really cool. And to be honest, I had no idea it existed until one day I decided to look up what all of those portal things in the Magic Kingdom were, and that's how I figured it out. I had no idea it existed, and to be honest, you don't actually see people playing the game until you play the game yourself.
Right.
So you have no one to really get you into the game until you play it yourself, and it is just really cool. It
Yeah.
is really, really cool.
Yeah. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, Sophie.
Mhm.
Um, some other things. I'm just gonna give some from all the parks, just so that we have equal coverage at all four parks. Um,
Yeah.
over at Animal Kingdom, um, I would say that the nature trail after you do Kilimanjaro Safari, the what is it? The Harambe,
Harambe. Harambe
the
Nature Trail.
yeah, that to me would qualify as an off the beaten path.
I would agree. Not a lot of people really go on it. Like it seems like there are a lot of people in there, but there really isn't because it's a walk-through thing.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people are like, I don't want to walk through it, but it is off the beaten path and it is really cool to see. There are so many things you can look at. They have a
Right.
bird place with a bunch of exotic birds, and they even have 3 tigers, although only one is out at any given time.
So
And they even have fruit bats.
yeah. And then also over at Animal Kingdom, don't forget, because we didn't do it and we should have, but we didn't do it, and that would be Rafiki's Planet Watch. And specifically what is it? The conversation station or whatever that
Conservation station.
and that was that is where you do the drawings, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And Rafiki's Planet Watch literally is off the beaten path. You literally have to take a train to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's definitely.
definitely worth checking out.
Hmm.
And spending a little bit of time, and it's a nice thing, and it's got a lot going on that are worth seeing. So it's not just like you're going to one thing. It's like you go there, you go in the building, and there's like 15 different things you can look at. So
Yeah.
so it's really not just like everyone's going to this one thing.
Hmm.
So
And with Hollywood Studios too, there are a few things that are off the beaten path there, and I I have to say that this one I don't think it was always off the beaten path, but Muppet Vision. Muppet Vision 3D, it seems like it's kind of fallen to the sidelines with the
yeah,
Tower of Terror and Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, and really that entire side of the park over where Muppet Vision is, it segues into Galaxy's Edge, but really that entire place is off the beaten path now because everyone's trying to get to Andy's Backyard and Galaxy's Edge and the Tower of Terror, and even Star Tours. We didn't go on it this time, but I don't think there was anyone over there because it was not Rise of the Resistance or
right.
Smuggler's Run.
You're absolutely right. With Galaxy's Edge specifically opening, Star Tours has really changed, and it's not a top attraction. And there would be some out there that say it never was a top attraction, but to me, I always thought it was cool and fun, and it was, to me at the time, it was worth making a fast pass for. Um,
I agree.
but now it's a walk on ride,
Mm.
and you're right, Muppet Vision 3D is dated, but
Yeah.
it's still fun, and it's still a nice relaxing thing to do every now and again.
Mhm.
um one other thing that is worth checking out, that is, I think, also off the beaten path at Hollywood Studios, is One Man's Dream. Let's get right into the nuts and bolts on what Walt was interested in, and what better way to do it than a little mini museum right in the park.
I agree.
So,
I very much agree.
anyway, there's a lot to see and do at Disney that does not involve just planning on riding roller coaster after roller coaster after roller coaster. You know,
Yeah.
there's so much to experience. And that's why I think having this kind of post with figuring out what's off the beaten path can really help to enhance what your trip is going to look like and how your planning is going to be done. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I think that rounds us out.
I think it does too.
So,
So,
Sophie, why don't you take us and tell us what's on the tap for this day in Disney history for December 21st?
mhm. I would love to, and I think you're going to like this one. December
Oh,
21st, 1958. Disneyland presents its first candlelight processional parade for the second evening in a row. Hosted by actor Dennis Morgan, it is performed on Main Street in Town Square. The event, conceived by Dr. Charles Hurt of the University of Southern California School of Music, features Christmas carols and the retelling of the birth of Jesus through the Gospels.
nice.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you, Sophie. I did
Uh-huh.
not, I don't think I knew that the candlelight processional that we can see at Epcot
Epcot.
was done before at Disneyland. I don't think I knew that. So we always learn something new every day.
Yep.
All
Speaking
right.
of learning something new, who's our who's who?
Oh, you're gonna love our Who's Who character, Sophie, and I think our listeners are too. And he is from the Jungle Book,
Hmm.
and he is a bear.
Baloo.
Baloo is our Who's Who character. I'm like, there's no way you not know who it is. As soon as I. But as we all know, Baloo is fun-loving and carefree, and he lives life to the fullest. He is not interested in taking on any responsibility, preferring to spend his days eating bananas and floating on the river. In fact, his life motto is to forget about worries and strife. Baloo tends to be a bit lazy, but he would do anything for his friends. The big bear has a heart of gold. He takes Mowgli under his wing, showing the man cub his own way of living in the jungle, and grows incredibly fond of the boy. He rescues Mowgli from the monkeys and even puts his own life on the line to protect Mowgli from the tiger Shere Khan. Although Baloo and Bagheera approach life completely differently, the two grow to be friends and ultimately work together to safely deliver Mowgli from the jungle.
Hmm.
I have two did you knows for you, Sophie.
I am listening.
Did you know that Baloo's trademark song, The Bare Necessities, was the only song kept from the original draft of the film?
Really?
Had no idea until I read that just a little short while ago. I had no
I
idea.
absolutely no idea.
And did you know that Baloo stars in Tailspin, a spin off animated series? In the world of Tailspin, Baloo is a skilled but lazy cargo pilot who struggles to pay his bills but always has time for his friends.
Oh,
I'm gonna have
I
to
did
go look
not.
up Tailspin and see if it's on Disney Plus.
Yep.
I had never heard of it.
Neither had I.
So, Baloo is our Disney Who's Who character.
I love it.
I do too. And now, our Walt Disney quote. Um, this is on the subject of children, both young and old. And Walt says, and I quote, "Every child is born blessed with a vivid imagination. But just as a muscle grows flabby with disuse, so the bright imagination of a child pales in later years if he ceases to exercise it." So that is a key for us. We need, as a people, as a culture, we need to remember what the power of our imagination can be
Yes.
and exercise it and live it and see what we can do, just by thinking outside of the box, so to speak.
Hmm.
You know, that's to me, that's a big deal.
I agree. That is a wonderful one.
Okay, Sophie, why don't you close us out by telling us about our charity spotlight?
I would love to. And this is one of the last times that we'll be talking about this one because it's nearing the end of the year, isn't it?
It sure is.
All right. Well, best keep the memories alive then.
Exactly.
And And the charity spotlight that we are talking about today, and for those of you who have been watching, you already know, but for those of you who are new, the charity spotlight that we have been talking about through the year and up until the end of this year is the Neuse River Golden Retriever Rescue. And it is a charity that is very near and dear to our hearts, and it works to help abandoned golden retrievers, or really any dog that has golden retriever blood in it, to find their forever home.
Yep.
And we have used this charity twice to adopt our boys Reagan and River in that order. And they are just a pure blessing. That's the only way I can really describe it, both to the dogs and to the people that work with the organization and have adopted from the organization.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words. It's amazing, really, what they do. And they will adopt dogs from all over the world. I think they've adopted dogs from China, haven't they?
They have adopted dogs from China and Turkey, and I think even India.
Mm-hmm. And they will adopt these dogs from all over the world and put them in foster homes until they can find their forever family. And of course, they will only adopt dogs out to people that are within a 100-mile radius of the organization. So if you live in the North Carolina area, then you have a chance to adopt one of these dogs. They will not adopt further out from Raleigh, but if you're looking for a dog, I would recommend them above
Exactly.
all others.
Yeah.
They are really wonderful to work with, and it's amazing to see the things they do. All of the dogs that they've rescued, you can even go and look on their web page, and they will have pictures of all the dogs that can be adopted out. And yes, this is our boy River. Oh my gosh.
He
Daddy
fell
actually sent
asleep in my lap.
Daddy sent me that picture a couple nights ago, and I was just like, my heart cannot take this cuteness. Why? I don't. If you had heard the noise that I made when you showed me that picture, Daddy, you would have been like, oh my gosh, Sophie, are you okay? Are you hurt?
Yeah.
Because it was like, I saw the picture and I immediately went, "Mm."
Well,
So,
I'll change
yes.
off.
Yeah. So,
But
yes.
anyway, but yeah, so the Neuse River Golden Retriever Rescue is a top-notch organization, and if you feel led, please go to their website, goldenrescuenc.org,
Mm-hmm.
and just check them out. Look them up, see what you think of them, and if you feel led to donate to help them with their mission, by all means. If you don't, that's okay. But we will continue to highlight them because they are top of the line.
Absolutely.
And so um, they like Sophie said, they only donate or they only adopt out in the around 100-mile radius around Raleigh, North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. So that kind of limits who that might be listening can hear. But it also gives someone maybe you have family that's in this area and they're looking for a dog. Well, maybe just talk to them about it and just say, "Hey, go check out this organization and see what you think." You know,
Mm-hmm.
because who knows? It could be your next forever friend. So it could be your next
Definitely.
fur baby. So you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and we would do anything for River.
Absolutely.
So that just about wraps us up, doesn't it, Soph?
Yep, I think the only thing left to do is talk about our sponsors, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just was gonna say that I've cut down the spiel, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So basically, just On the Road with Mickey is sponsored by Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis and Tech Solutions NC.
Mm-hmm.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. I love it.
Okay. We will figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week will be December 28th. It'll have been Christmas. Will have come and gone. To everyone listening, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope that what you get for Christmas or for the holidays, depending on what you celebrate, is exactly what your heart wants, and that you have a wonderful time with your family and your friends, and it's just the most joyous time of the year, and that is the most peaceful time for you and your family. You know,
Absolutely.
we are so excited because we are, about to pick up Sophie.
Yep. At the time of this recording, it is a few days out from my parents coming to take me home for the holidays.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I cannot wait to be back home and loving on my dog. I miss him so much.
Yeah. So we're going to have a busy time, but we'll figure out taping for the 28th show, and we'll get it done,
Yep.
just like we always do.
And
But until then, we will
see you
see you on the road. Bye.
Bye.